Okay, in this video we'll be exploring a way to find the area of a triangle using some of the tools we've got in trigonometry. Now the calculation for the area of a triangle we're probably most familiar with is half times base times height. And we can clearly see that the base for this triangle is 6, so we can already put half times 6 there. But the height is the one we don't have immediate access to, because the height is not a side length. Okay, so it's not the 5 over there, rather it's how tall the triangle is directly from top to bottom. Currently, that is unknown, so we'll call it h for height, and that's the best we can do for now. But here is where trig comes into play. We can look at this green right-angled triangle here, and noticing that h is opposite the 37-degree angle, and 5 is the hypotenuse, we find that sine 37 degrees is in fact h over 5. In other words, multiplying both sides by 5, we would have h equals 5 times sine 37 degrees. And so back to our working on the left, we can replace that red h there with 5 times sine 37 degrees. We put that into a calculator and we get 9.03. So we can actually use this example to develop a pattern so that we don't have to pull apart the triangle every single time and do all this work we've got here. Okay, if we closely inspect our final calculation again, we can see where all the bits of information we originally had come into play. Okay, so the half always has to be there for the triangle. Then we had the 6 times 5. Now what are they? Well, they're just 2 side lengths of the triangle. So it's a bit different to before, where we just looked out for one side length and then how tall the triangle was from top to bottom. Here we're actually using 2 side lengths of the triangle, and they can be any 2 sides we choose. So the pattern is to multiply half by any 2 sides of the triangle. Okay, then what's the 37 degrees? Well, clearly it's an angle here, but which angle is very important. You notice it's the angle that must be sandwiched between the 2 blue sides we chose to use. And we had to take the sine of that angle in between the 2 sides we used, and yes, it has to be sine every single time, because that's the only way we access that red height over there. And so this becomes a pattern we can use. Half times base times height is not wrong, but another way of doing the same thing is to do half times 2 sides times the sine of the angle in between those 2 sides. And which one you use just depends on what information you've got access to. Okay, so here's another example where we have all those sides and a 100-degree angle up top. Okay, and we don't have any access to how tall the triangle is from top to bottom in any direction. So remember our pattern that we just got is half times 2 sides times sine of the angle in between. And now we have access to all the sides, right? But where we have no choice is the 100-degree angle. That's the only angle we know. So we must be using sine 100 degrees at the end there. And that now tells us which 2 sides we must use. We can't choose any 2 sides. See, the 100-degree angle up there is sandwiched between the 6 and the 7. So the 2 sides we need to multiply are the 6 and the 7 there. And so we put that into our equation. Okay, we punch all that into our calculator and we get 20.68. Okay, so that's how we can find the area of a triangle if we know 2 side lengths and the angle in between. Just make sure that it is the angle in between that you're using. So that's all for this one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.